Hey, hello everybody. I hope that all of you are doing super well. And today we're going to talk about Marvel Tōkon, yes, and about the roster again. I know it feels like we talk about Tōkon's roster like once a week. It's almost like a podcast by this point. But the idea is to go over it once again because the Spider-Man team changes the predictions so much. The fact that Star-Lord is on the team, that we got Penny as the new character, and we still have 8 picks left and 3 teams to predict. But it's gonna be a little different in this video because we're gonna make it more personal. I'm gonna tell you characters that I want to see and why maybe they make sense for the roster of the game. And I also want you to leave me a comment with the characters that you would like to see, what would make you excited, and make it more of a community thing because at the end of the day, it's getting so hard to predict the roster that it's more fun to just make it something about us as a community than just trying to actually get it, precisely. So let me know what you would like. I'm gonna tell you what I would like and why maybe it actually makes sense for the game. So let's get into it. Oh, and before we start, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing if you want to see more Marvel Tōkon content or you like content around fighting games because that's what we do over here. Thank you, and let's get into it. Okay, so I guess that it makes sense to start the video with the team in which Captain America is the leader because thanks to a ton of new footage of this game, we got this logo and one of the loading screens if I'm not mistaken, and it looks kind of like a mix of the Avengers and the Fantastic Four logo, right? A ton of people are discussing about it online. And if that's the case and the Captain America team actually has a couple of Fantastic Four members, I would be happy with it. I don't think that it is a bad idea. It is actually a decent way to put those two big teams and have, some representation of both in the base roster and then have a DLC team which has some of the iconic characters left make it into the game. So I think that is fine. But if this is the case, I would really like for the Thing to be one of those picks because we don't have a big body character in the game. And if Hulk is not going to make it into an Avengers team, then the Thing is kind of like the next character in line to pick up that big body archetype, and it would be really weird to have a game like this and don't have at least one grappler slash brawler character. So the Thing makes a ton of sense, at least to me. And then if it is Fantastic Four, highly likely the other pick is just going to be Invisible Woman because you need female representation on the team. And also, she's actually a very unique character. You can make her super different from everybody else in the roster. So it makes a ton of sense for her to make it into the game if the Captain America team is actually going to have be, kind of like a mix with the Fantastic Four. But now, if the team is actually not with the Fantastic Four and it's only Avengers, what I would like to see is Black Panther and Hulk. Now, that is a little bit hard to get because there's no female character on the team. But I think that maybe there's a world in which, for example, Hulk could be She-Hulk, and then you get T'Challa as Black Panther, or you get Shuri as Panther, and then you get regular Hulk. It's just characters that I would like to see. I really want to see Hulk in the game, but different from what he was in NBC. I think that arcsys is doing a lot of really cool and unique stuff with the characters that are classic NBC and making it something new. So I would like to see what they would do with Hulk. And then Black Panther is just a character that hasn't been in actually that many fighting games at all, only on NBCI, and it makes a lot of sense for him to have a spot in a game like this. So those would be my picks if it is either fully Avengers or Fantastic Four. And well, now we can move into the team in which Doctor Doom is the leader. And I do think that this is just going to be a villain team by this point, especially now that Star-Lord has an actual slot with Spider-Man on that team. I don't think that Doom is going to be cosmic, for example, or anything like that. It's highly likely just going to be 4 villains, especially because Doom is the only villain in the entire roster by this point. So highly likely the other villain picks are just going to be with him, right? The characters that I would like to see, number 1 is a Spider-Man villain and not Venom. I'm sorry, I know that a lot of people really like Venom. I do like Venom as well, but I really want to see either Doc Ock or the Green Goblin in this game because they have never been on a fighting game and they are perfect for a fighting game, and specifically they are really good for an Arc System Works fighting game. Both the Green Goblin and Doc Ock are really keen to be like Arc System Works fighting game characters, so I would be really happy if we get one of those two as a Spider-Man villain on Doctor Doom team. If it is Venom, I would also be happy, but it's just that those two would be something really new, right? And Venom has been on a lot of different fighting games already, and also he's kind of like the print for a DLC character, I'm not gonna lie. Like Venom would sell really well as a DLC. Then another character that I really want to see is Magneto. I think that Magneto is as iconic as Wolverine, and if Wolverine is going to make it into the X-Men team, even though he's one of the faces of Marvel vs. Capcom, then I do think that Magneto also deserves to make it into this game and have a complete redesign gameplay-wise and visually. And I think that arcsys, like I said before, is doing a really good job with giving classic NBC characters a new identity, and I really would like to see what they could do with Magneto. So I would be really happy if Magneto is on the game, even if it is kind of like a very known fighting game character. I think that is still very high. And then the last spot for this team, I would be happy if it is Emma Frost, and it's actually kind of like the Cabal, right? I think that Emma is a really interesting character. She's really cool, and she's kind of like an arcsys character. Also, I've said in multiple videos, like the big, tall, blonde girl that is like super hot. That's a really arc system works character. They're probably very happy if they can put her in the game. So I would not be surprised if that's the case. Now, there's actually kind of like an extra discussion connected to Doom's team, because around a month or so ago, we got a leak, or a quote-unquote leak, from a retail store that said that Scarlet Witch and Magneto were gonna be on the game. And we already talked about Magneto. There is a ton of reasons why it makes sense for Magneto to make it on the game and to be on Doom's team. But if Scarlet Witch is gonna make it into the game and the leak is real, do we really want her to take up a spot in the team in which Doom would be? Or would we prefer if she takes, a slot on Ghost Rider's team or on the Avengers? I would prefer if that was the case. I do not want Scarlet Witch to take a spot from Doctor's Doom team. If it's gonna be villains, I would prefer to get Emma, like I said, maybe even someone like Mystique, or I don't know, another Spider-Man villain, and give me like Green Goblin and Null or whatever, right? I just think the Scarlet Witch is a very kind of like boring character at a first layer to me, from a personal standpoint. But of course, if you want to see her, I do hope that she makes it and the leak is real. But I would prefer if she doesn't take up a spot from Doctor's Doom team and she's somewhere else. And we can get, kind of like another interesting villain. It could also be Thanos, right? Or maybe even something like Mr. Sinister. There's so many cool villains that could make it into the game that I would prefer if Scarlet is on another team. But that's just more my opinion than anything else. Okay, and now we can move into the team in which Ghost Rider is the leader. And I'm not gonna lie, this team can be packed with really cool characters, but there's one that I really want to see. I need it, and that is Blade. Okay, I think that Blade needs to make it into this game for so many different reasons. He has never been on a fighting game. He's perfect for one, and at the same time, he's a really cool arc system works type character. Like, you can make him a mix of so many of the other characters arcsys has worked in the past, and also kind of like connected with the MBC characters like Dante and Virgil in terms of gameplay, and you can make one of the most cool fighting game characters of all time. So I really do hope that Blade gets to be in this game. I think that the fact that Daredevil, for example, was not on Spider-Man's team is already a big loss in my opinion. So I would be really happy if, Blade is at least the one that we get from those like perfect fighting game characters that have never been on one. So to me, Blade has to be locked in. Then you have so many other characters that are insanely cool that can make it. For example, you have Doctor Strange that could make it. You also have Iron Fist, Man-Thing, if we got like another big body character, right, would be really cool. Also Moon Knight, the Punisher, even Deadpool. Some people were saying that Deadpool could make it because at the end of the Spider-Man trailer, we have this kind of like weird drawings in the screen, and one of them is someone making like a marshmallow with Ghost Rider's fire from his head because he kind of like roasts him, right? So there is so much that you can make with this team that it could be incredible, but I really want to see Blade is my #1 priority. But if we get Doctor Strange, if we get Deadpool, if we get Moon Knight, Iron Fist, I would be happy with any of those, to be honest. And just to finish the video, I also wanted to talk very quickly about some DLC that I would like to see in the game. The first one has to be Cyclops. I really want to see Cyclops and Gambit as well in this game. If we are going to get like another X-Men team as a DLC, I would really hope for Cyclops and Gambit to make it. I'm actually kind of surprised that Cyclops didn't make it into this game in the base roster because he has been kind of like neglected by Marvel video games for a long time. So I thought that he was going to be in this one, but I really hope for those two. Gambit and Cyclops are some of my favorite X-Men of all time. Then aside from that, I would also really like to see more Spider-Man characters. For example, more villains, like I said, Doc Ock, the Green Goblin, Null, maybe Venom or some variation like Agent Venom, right? I think that Spider-Man villains specifically are some of the coolest Marvel characters, and we still don't have a single one in the game. And if we get one, it's probably just gonna be one, and that's it, right? So those are two of the big groups that I really want to see as DLC that I hope make it into the game at some point. And then the last one is actually going to be Daredevil. Like I said, I think that Daredevil is a perfect fighting game character. He highly likely didn't make it into the game because the Spider-Man team is already done, right? And that was kind of like the most sense to put him into the game, the one that made the most sense, right? So those are my DLC picks, at least for the start. There's a lot of characters that you can put in a game like this. Marvel has so many cool characters. But thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments again which characters you would like to see in this game in particular. Like and subscribe if you want to support the channel. I would appreciate it. It means a ton. And of course, thank you for everything, and see you on the next one. Take care.